Hey guys, looking for new survival games? Then you've come to the right place. We're starting the list with Breathedge 2, a space survival game with an ironic and retro-futuristic vibe, developed by Red Ruins Softworks and published by Hype Train Digital. It's the sequel to the original Breathedge, released in 2021, which won over fans with its peculiar humor and survival mechanics in a space environment. Breathedge 2 maintains the first-person survival style of the original, but significantly expands the scope to a more sandbox format. The player explores a vast open world, composed of multiple planets, facing dangers like lack of oxygen, enemies, and other space hazards. Survival remains a central pillar, but with improvements based on feedback from the first game. Dune Awakening is a highly anticipated game being developed by Funcom, a company known for titles like Conan Exiles and Age of Conan. It's a massively multiplayer online, MMO, open-world survival game set in the iconic Dune universe created by Frank Herbert. The game promises to combine elements of survival, exploration, building, and political intrigue in an alternate version of the desert planet Arrakis. The game is described as a large-scale survival experience where players start as prisoners sent to the planet and must fight to survive, build bases, and rise to power in a shared world with hundreds of other players. It's inspired by both Herbert's books and Denis Villeneuve's recent films, but presents an alternate narrative that differentiates the game from the traditional canon.
Waiting to be harnessed. Desert power. Some claim to rule this planet. But Arrakis is yours to explore. To fight for. To conquer. But there are forces beyond even your control. Master Arrakis, and it will open your mind. This is your path to awakening.
Crashlands 2 is a game being developed and published by Butterscotch Shenanigans, an indie developer known for the success of the first Crashlands, released in 2016. It's a sequel to the award-winning open-world crafting RPG, bringing back the signature humor, exploration, and creative gameplay that won over fans of the original. Crashlands 2 is a survival and crafting RPG set in a vibrant and dynamic alien world called Wonope. The game promises an expansive experience with a focus on exploration, building, combat, and interactions with eccentric characters. It maintains the spirit of the first game, but elevates the experience with a handcrafted world. Instead of procedurally generated like the original, new gameplay systems, and a deeper narrative. Subnautica 2 is the highly anticipated sequel to the acclaimed underwater survival game Subnautica. Developed by Unknown Worlds, the studio behind the Subnautica series, the game promises to take players to a new and mysterious alien ocean world, filled with strange creatures, vibrant biomes, and secrets to be uncovered. Subnautica 2 presents a new ocean world, with a brand new story full of surprises. Players will need to navigate diverse biomes, from towering underwater cliffs to lush coral reefs, each teeming with unique creatures and mysteries to be unraveled. To survive in this alien world, players will need to use their knowledge and skills to build custom tools, vehicles, and bases. The game also offers the option to explore the world alone, or in the company of friends, with the launch of cooperative multiplayer, a new feature in the franchise. Night is Coming is a strategy and survival game being developed by the Russian studio Wild Forest Studio and published by Ravenscourt, with a planned release in 2025 in early access on Steam for PC. The game combines elements of city building, resource management, and defense against supernatural threats, all set in a dark fantasy world inspired by Slavic mythology and the mysticism of the Carpathian region in Eastern Europe. During the day, you must build and expand your settlement, gather resources like wood and food, and ensure shelter, clothing, and supplies for the colonists. Each colonist is an individual with their own attributes, needs, and skills, which adds a layer of RPG management. You need to teach them crafts like farming, blacksmithing, and mining, as well as keep their morale high. Romestead is a building and survival game that promises to transport players to ancient Rome, challenging them to rebuild civilization from the ruins. The journey to rebuild Rome is not easy. Players will need to deal with legendary enemies that inhabit the ancient lands, as well as manage their resources and citizens. To thrive, players will need to organize their citizens to cultivate crops, forge weapons, and gather resources. The happiness of the citizens is also important, and players can build decorations to increase their satisfaction. Romestead features a detailed pixel art visual style that evokes the aesthetics of ancient Rome. The game can be played both in single-player and cooperative mode, allowing players to share the experience of rebuilding Rome with friends. Pioner is a game in development by GFA Games, a developer based in Belgrade, that promises to bring a unique experience to the MMOFPS, massively multiplayer online first-person shooter, genre with elements of survival and RPG. Inspired by titles like Stalker, Metro, and Escape from Tarkov, the game is generating anticipation among fans of post-apocalyptic shooters. Pioner takes place in an alternate reality, on a fictional Soviet island called Tartarus, isolated from the world after a technological disaster that created a large-scale anomaly. The island is inhabited by mutants, wild animals, dangerous anomalies, and conflicting human factions. The player takes on the role of a former agent who must survive in this hostile environment while unraveling the mysteries of the island and seeking resources to thrive.
Actions are rapidly changing the course of events, and the general vector of changes is close to our worldview.
But here everything is strange. Our informant is weird. Our enemies are weird. The same goes for you too.
In Crosswind, you take on the role of a freelance captain who was betrayed and abandoned after a job gone wrong. The story begins with a quest for survival and revenge, but soon puts you in the middle of a conflict between empires, pirate clans, and dark powers lurking on the horizon. Crosswind combines elements of survival, building, crafting, and combat on land and at sea. Players can explore vibrant and diverse biomes, gather resources, build and improve their bases, recruit and expand their crews, and engage in naval and land battles. Crosswind promises to be an exciting and action-packed pirate game, with a complete survival experience and an open world to explore. With its diverse gameplay and a deep progression system, Crosswind has the potential to become one of the most popular pirate games on the market. RuneScape Dragonwilds is a new open-world survival and crafting game set in the RuneScape universe and is scheduled to be released in early access on Steam in spring 2025. The game is developed by Jagex, the same company behind the RuneScape and old-school RuneScape games, and is a completely new project that aims to offer players a different experience than what they are used to. The game is a cooperative survival game for 1 to 4 players, where players must work together to learn new skills, build camps, become stronger, and survive against powerful enemies, including many dragons. Classic RuneScape skills like cooking and woodcutting are essential for survival in Dragonwilds. Dreadzone is a first-person survival and action game that is in development and will be released in early access on Steam. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world infested with zombies, mutants, and other dangerous creatures. Players must fight to survive, gather resources, build shelters, and defend themselves from hordes of enemies. Dreadzone offers an intense and challenging gameplay experience, with a focus on melee and ranged combat. Players can choose from a variety of weapons, including firearms, melee weapons, and hand-to-hand weapons. The game also features a crafting system, allowing players to create their own weapons, tools, and armor items. Players can build shelters and bases to protect themselves from the dangers of the outside world. They can gather resources like wood, stone, and metal to build structures and craft items. Sand is a game in development by TinyBuild in collaboration with indie studios Hologryph and Tower House that promises to bring a unique experience to the shooter genre with elements of survival and exploration. Sand is an open-world game with PvPvE, player versus player and environment mechanics, set in an alternate universe with a dieselpunk aesthetic. The release is scheduled to take place in early access on April 3, 2025, exclusively for PC via Steam. The game combines exploration, combat, and customization in a post-apocalyptic setting on the fictional planet Sophie, which was devastated by an ecological disaster that evaporated its oceans. Players traverse a procedurally generated desert, punctuated by handcrafted urban islands filled with mystical anomalies, monuments, and environmental hazards. Light No Fire is a game in development by Hello Games, the British independent studio known for creating No Man's Sky. Announced during the Game Awards in December 2023, the game promises to be a new ambitious experience, combining elements of adventure, building, survival, and exploration in an open world of unprecedented scale, according to the developers. The game is designed to be a multiplayer adventure, where players can meet, collaborate, and build persistent communities, or explore alone, discovering the world for others. The promise is of a true open world, without barriers or limits, something that Hello Games claims is unprecedented in scale and execution. The game features a boundless open world, procedurally generated, with a massive variety of biomes, enemies, and resources. Every mountain can be climbed, and the oceans and continents offer vastness for exploration. Well, that was the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see you next time.